How you doing? Dan here. Hope you're well. Haven't been on the old vid for a while, so I thought I'd post some of my so-called wisdom and hopefully help you guys improve your health and well-being. Did you see the moon this week? That's what I'd like to say, especially when it rose. I drove around the corner, boom, and there it was. Did you know that these things, the planets, the sun, and all the stars, have an effect on us? Now, without running the mile because you think I've gone mad, of course, they do have an effect on us physiologically. Our cycle, our 24-hour cycle, what we call our circadian rhythm, which is our hormonal rhythm, is largely dictated by the light and the dark cycles. So the 24-hour cycle obviously changes through the season and through the day. Obviously, the sun comes up, and in the winter, it's much later and lasts for a shorter period of time, and our daylight hours are shorter. And then obviously the sun goes down and we have darkness. Now that affects us hormonally, and it affects us in more ways than one. And today I wanted just to talk to you how that affects our diet. You may not have even considered this, but for those of you perhaps that are eating frequent meals, that are eating pretty good quality stuff, I try and teach the boot campers to try and have certain rules to make sure they're having a reasonably balanced plate of food in front of them and good quality, but ideally organic or free range, which is key. If you're one of these people, then it's time to start trying to really try and treat yourself like an individual and try and pay attention to all the aspects of our daily lives, known and unknown, that will affect the type of food and how the type of food we need and how our bodies are going to utilize that. So effectively, if you think about it, in the summer months in this country, any country, there's more sun, and obviously more sun gives us more rise to more growth. It's a period of doing things, especially in the spring. We sow our seeds, and in this sort of time we're harvesting and we're reaping what we sowed. The more sun generally equates to more carbohydrate availability, which is why in hotter southern equator climates, their diets tend to be more carbohydrate, plant-based foods. And as we go more northern equator, away from the sun, especially in the winter, it tends to go towards more proteins and fats. So that's a simple fact that you can see just where we live affects the type of foods that we've evolved to eat. So, and how does this affect you? Well, if you're the issue with globalization and getting foods from all over, imports and exports all over the world, is that we can eat the same foods every day because we like it and we have choice. But in the old days, of course, our pagan rituals and our rituals dancing around the maypole and all those sorts of things would have been very much linked to the harvest, farming, and all the things and all the seasonal changes that I believe are really important. And I think it's good to be in touch with those things. So now we can eat, oranges all year, salad all year. But is that what we need, or are we just doing it because we have the choice and we like them? And is it really doing us any good? Well, from a weight loss perspective, is it good to eat foods on the wrong time of year that we actually need? I don't know. So I want to just kind of come across just put some thoughts on the board behind me, just to show you how physiologically we change and our kind of diet, our needs change through the seasons, and what are the variables and the things you can look out for that will make a difference to you with your diet and the way you are, your well-being, your weight loss, or staying lean and happy and all those type nice things. So as you can see at the top, there's kind of like a scale between plants and fats and proteins, and essentially in the middle here you have activities going towards plants and towards fats and proteins. So plants here, the less stress we're under and the less activity, and the weather, of course, as I talked about, the sun, I think I may have made a mistake there. That should be high hot days. Generally speaking, our appetite and our dietary needs go towards more plants, more carbohydrates, because they're available, and that's what we've evolved to. Now, we can kind of ignore those things But what you normally find is in the summer, you wouldn't go and head for stews and casseroles and heavy, fatty protein foods. Normally, you would gravitate towards lighter, salad type foods. So on the other end of the spectrum, as the seasons change and the earth itself is going into a kind of repair mode, just like we do, the colder the weather, the more need for stress hormones, cortisol, the less light there is, the less carbohydrate availability is. We tend to gravitate more towards the need for fats and proteins. So you might find that your appetite has changed. Now it's bleak in summer, in November, and there's not many carbohydrates around. You might find that your appetite changes. Well, if you're eating, how does that affect you with weight loss, for example? Well, if you're eating too many plant foods, carbohydrates in the autumn and winter months, that could mean that you're not giving your body what it needs. You're not utilizing the sugar because you don't need it as much. And historically in the winter, if you look at what's seasonal right now, it's greens, it's cauliflower, it's sprouts, it's broccoli, spinach, brassicas, chard, all those types of things with a few roots. There's not many seasonal fruits in this country in this time of year. Hard work out. You tell me what fruits are available in November. No apples, no pears, no berries, certainly no strawberries. But we can go and make a fruit salad and eat that in the morning, but we're not really in tune with how that makes us feel. And I believe in order to get the best of your buck, it's really important that we start listening to and paying attention to the changes and giving our body what it needs throughout the day, because continuously your individual and your internal environment, i.e. how you perceive things and how you deal with stress, and your external environment, i.e. how active you are, what the weather is doing, what your hormonal status is changing all the time. And we need to pay attention to that and fine tune it to make sure that we're getting the right foods for us. Essentially, it's the next step on for getting the right diet once you've got the nuts and bolts, like I mentioned earlier. So stress can come in the form of different types of stress: cognitive, limbic and emotional stress, worries, anxieties, threats. It can come in being active physically. So if you exercise a lot, then you probably want to shift towards more protein and fats, because you're actually stressing your body out. If you're not sleeping, if you're doing too much, if your long workload, any type of stress is basically going to be the need for more fat and protein. And of course, cold weather is a stress. So the other thing to mention, of course, is hormonal status. We all have a hormonal cycle. Women have a cycle too, which we all know. And normally around menstruation, the need for fat and protein goes up, because guess what? Our sex hormones, our androgen hormones, come from cholesterol, which come from fat. So if the nuts and bolts aren't there, then our hormonal status is going to be out of kill. So I just wanted to share with you that, because I don't want you to kind of go through mundane every day eating the same things through 12 months a year without modifying your requirements based on your lifestyle and the planets. As you can see, we don't get much sunlight in the morning. Should we be eating lots of carbohydrates and fruits? But your body will tell you. Your body will tell you not if you're eating the wrong type of food, because you won't feel good. You'll put on weight. Your digestion will be compromised. You probably won't be able to sleep, and it can affect things in many, many ways. So just to recap, pay attention. Pay attention. What you can do is pay attention to your appetite. If your appetite is strong, it normally signifies that you're under more stress and you want to shift more towards protein and fats. The weather changes. If it's a really cold day, like it was Tuesday or whenever it was, and it was quite cold, your body's under more stress. It probably needs more fat and protein. If your hormonal cycle is if you're in menstruation, then you probably need more fat and protein, especially this time of year. Nothing is ever set in stone. No one day is the same, is it? So maybe keep a log, keep a food diary, note down the weather, note down how you feel, note down your menstruation, note down how much stress you're under. And then you can start to note down your appetite, link the types of foods you've been eating, and also not just the foods you've eaten, but how do you feel with those foods? Do you feel energized? Do you feel good? Do you not? Do you crave stuff? And if you crave stuff and you don't feel good, then it's probably not the right stuff. Just remember that there's only one of you and you need to treat yourself that way. So hope that gave you food for thought, and I will see you around. If you have any questions, please make a comment. Please share. I'd like to sort of help as many people as possible, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.